Hi, everybody. Welcome to Rachel's Reviews. And today it's very exciting. We are continuing on our series where we are talking about the best movies from the last 25 years. And we have already done our 31 through 50. That's two episodes. So if you haven't listened to those, you definitely want to because there's some really good recommendations in there. And today we are doing 21 through 30, and that's going to be a lot of fun. I've got some really all over the place recommendations here, but some really good movies. And I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Alise Chaffins is here.
Hello.
Yeah, how's it going?
It's good. Yeah, I'm excited. I was saying earlier here before we started that this is an eclectic group today. So,
Yeah, are they having crazy weather in your corner of the world?
no, here it's just real cold, but we're not really getting much of the snow that I know is happening around. So,
Oh,
with
that's
the
good.
like whatever polar vortex thing. So, yeah, we're
Yeah.
we're on the outer edge of that, I think.
Yeah, we had it just this last weekend. It was pretty intense.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have 30 to 21. We're getting to the cream of the cream of the cream of the crop here.
Indeed.
And some really, really good movies. And we talked about the all a little all over the place for me.
Yeah, same.
Something for
Same, same.
everybody in this list, I think. But let's dive in. Let's talk about it. What do you have at 30?
So at 30, I have the 2009 film Julie and Julia with Amy Adams and
Oh,
Meryl
love
Streep.
that one.
I There is just something so warm and comforting about this movie.
Yeah.
It's funny because I watched the movie first and I loved it so much, and I read the memoir that it was based on and was like,
Which one? The Julia or the Julie
the
one?
Julie
Oh,
one
Julie.
that
Okay.
she had written.
Because it's based
And
on two books.
right.
Yeah.
I was less impressed with the actual. I think I just really got this Amy Adams kind of
Oh.
character in my brain, and that is not who Julie is, which is
No,
fine. And it's not really a problem of the memoir. I'm not saying the memoir is bad. It was just like
I'll
such a
say it's bad.
disconnect.
I hated that book so much. She
Okay, I
is just
didn't love it.
no, she is just such, the thing is that in my experience, and I come from a blogging background,
Hmm.
blogs turned into books are awful. There's something about that relaxed kind of I'm complaining, I'm opining about the world that book form is so insufferable. And they definitely, I mean, Nora Ephron and her team made
Oh,
Julie way more likable.
so much. Yeah.
Yeah,
And like I said, I just had this like view of who Julie was and then read the book. It was like, oh, okay, that
the
is not
worst.
the same. And
Complaining
I
about
like
nine
Amy
11,
Adams better.
complaining about 9/11 survivors. And I mean, it's bad. But yeah,
Yeah.
but it's a very charming book. And you should read My Life in France, the Julia Child part of it, because that is
Yeah.
actually really good.
That I can believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was just, but I love this film. There's just, like I
Yeah.
said, it's just this like warm hug of a movie, and
Yeah. Good
and I love
choice.
foodie kind of movies. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, everything looks so good.
Uh-huh.
That's funny.
Absolutely.
Well, my number 30 is totally different than that. I have Inception.
Ah, there we
Number
go.
30. So that's my Nolan pick for the list.
Yeah, fair.
I almost like this movie almost more for the discussion and experience than for necessarily the movie itself. I think it's a very entertaining film, and
Hmm.
I think that it has more heart and soul than sometimes given credit to. Marion Cotillard's character and just the yearning that the Leonardo DiCaprio has to be with her and find her again. I mean, I think is there's it's more than just some like dopey action movie. There's something there. But I
Yeah.
just loved the experience of the mystery of it all. And
Mm.
everybody talk, oh, what do you think? What do you think happened here? What do you think here? Did you notice this clue? Did you it was a real talker, and that was so fun. It'd probably be one of the most fun movies in that regard that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And so I think it was very special that way. I mean, and you can nitpick it like why are like if you look at something like Paprika, which was an influence, like there's a lot more like crazy dream stuff in there than Nolan
Hmm.
does. I mean, this is a very like who dreams this way? Nobody.
Right.
Like what?
Fair.
But who cares? It was fun to follow the clues and the experience of it and the acting and like I said, I do think it has a little bit more weight to it than sometimes people give it credit to.
Yeah, that's fair. And it has just some of like my favorite visuals that we've seen in movies. Like he did some of that again
Yeah,
in like, Interstellar and whatever, but like I just love that. Yeah, the look of it, the folding in and everything. It's just
yeah,
really interesting.
really
So,
cool.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and great cast.
Yeah, I
Everybody's
mean, so
there
good.
for it. So what do you have at 29?
So 29, last week I said I only had one from last year. That is a lie because 29 is a Ghostlight, which
Oh,
is a movie that I feel like I wish more people knew
I
about
know.
it because it is just so beautiful.
I
Oh,
really wish, I think it was IFC who got that. It was like, why didn't you do more of a campaign? Why didn't you like
yeah.
it felt like it wasn't even marketed when it came to the theaters. Like, I don't
No.
understand why people spend all this money on Sundance movies and then just do nothing with them.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. Like it's just I mean, obviously one of the most like interesting things about it is it's a movie about a family
Yeah,
and it's performed by a family and I
yeah,
just love that because
I do
obviously you're
too.
going to get that like family dynamic nailed because that's who you are and
Yeah.
I love it so much. I know I've seen people and I can understand is it a little too on the nose with the Romeo and Juliet thing and I get that but I just don't care.
I don't care either. Well,
I
and
loved it anyway. I just thought it was beautiful and it's such a unique way of telling like just a really tragic story and
yeah.
I think it's
Well,
beautiful.
and I'm a community theater girl, so this just had like my heart from the
Yeah.
beginning. And
Mm.
I think that it's interesting because one of my critic friends, he was like, "Oh, this is a completely unrealistic premise," and
Mm.
I'm thinking, absolutely not. Like I mean,
Yeah.
maybe the Romeo and Julie part of it, but like the Dolly De Leon going outside and being like, "Will you help us with these exercises?" And because they'd made eye contact, they'd had like a little bit. I could picture so many community theater people absolutely doing that.
Totally, totally. These are not shy people, generally speaking.
And
So
I like
totally.
the fact they didn't make the daughter like too much of like a sullen, miserable teenager. I
Yeah,
hate that
totally.
trope so
Yeah,
much.
no, I agree.
And And I mean, I just feel like sometimes we let our teenage characters like we rob them of their humanity. We turn them into these
Yeah,
monsters, and I'm like,
right.
what? I don't know. I really, and so I liked her a lot. She was like a well-rounded person and character, and it was so good. I agree with you
Yeah.
on that, and I
Mm.
just wish that it had gotten like the awards attention that it deserves.
Yeah, I mean, like Keith Kupfer not being like in the conversation just
Yeah,
bums me out because
it
his
does.
performance is just so beautiful. Like there's a
Yeah,
deposition scene that is just, I guess, like a deposition kind of thing,
yeah.
but it is just like
Oh
a
yeah,
stunning
yeah,
perform. I mean, it's beautiful, let
yeah.
alone his performance later as a
Yeah.
performer. It's
Yeah.
just, I,
I agree.
yeah,
Good
it's
choice.
just spectacular. He's so good.
Well,
The whole film. Yeah.
if somebody were to ask me what is a great American movie of the last 25 years, I one of the big ones that I would say is There Will Be Blood, because
Mm,
that's my 29. This
yeah.
is by director Paul Thomas Anderson, and this movie is just spellbinding from beginning to end. The performances are so amazing, especially, of course, Daniel Day-Lewis. I mean, just like a searing, wrenching, like unforgettable performance. The everything about how it's shot, how it's you get such a sense of time and place, and it's it's incredible.
Mm. Yeah, no, I mean there's not a whole lot to say. It is an incredible movie. I mean, like you can
it's it,
go on
it
about it, but like it's just and it has just that epic kind of feel to it that
yeah,
yeah, it's just really excellent.
and it's it's one that I've only seen it a couple times, so I was like, do I love it? And
Right.
and I'm like, it's so I even though I've only seen it a couple times, it's unforgettable those couple of times. So it
Yeah,
just
and
had
it's
to
not,
make my
yeah, it's
list.
not one that you easily can sit down and just, oh, I'm gonna like
Yeah.
put on There Will Be Blood for funsies. Yeah, it's not one of those movies. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what was it up against? Oh, No Country for Old Men.
Mm,
Okay.
that's
Uh
fair.
it was a good year.
It's yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah. Oh, Juno was up that year. I love that so much.
Goodness. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a solid year.
Yeah. So anyway, but it is a excellent film. If people haven't seen it,
Absolutely. Yeah,
you
if you
should
haven't.
definitely watch it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Are you a fan of Rachel's Reviews? Do you look forward to Family Movie Night, Female Film Critics panels, or the Talking Disney podcast? If so, please consider supporting the podcast by becoming a Patreon. As a patron, you get to access monthly events such as the watch-alongs and Q&As, where you get to talk to stars and find out the behind the scenes of the movie making industry. And you can pick what I review for Family Movie Night or even become a guest on the podcast. Podcasts and YouTube channels are expensive, and I really, really could use your help. I would so appreciate it. You also get to be a member of the Facebook group where we talk about all the films that we're seeing, and we have so much fun. Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies and select one of the Rachel's fan tiers. That's patreon.com/hallmarkies.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you have at 28?
Yeah, so I have the Ty West film X that was part of that
Oh,
whole like Maxine trilogy. And I understand that Pearl is probably the better movie, but X is my favorite of the
okay.
trilogy. I love, and the probably the primary reason that it is my favorite is I genuinely love the scene where Pearl is putting on makeup and the like group that's there to film these adult films are singing Landslide. And it's just this excellent moment of how even when you are old or whatever, you still might want to be seen as desirable. You still want to have this kind of like connection. And there was something about that scene that just like wrecks me every time. I don't know. It's in the middle of this just straight up slasher film, but there's this like one little moment that I think is just a beautiful like exploration of, yeah, like just wanting to be attractive, even as an older
Mm,
person, like as an elderly
yeah.
person here, like not even just old, but like old.
Yeah.
And I love it. I think
Yeah.
Mia Goth is so good. I mean, I
Mm,
just remember watching it the first time and like didn't realize that she was playing two roles, like out of the start. And like, I think she does a fantastic job in both of them.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, I can see where Pearl is probably the better film, as they go, but yeah, there's just something about X that I
Well,
just really love. So.
you can cheat and because I have a couple I'm gonna be cheating on and just have the trilogy if you want. But
I mean,
yeah,
honestly, I
I
didn't love Maxine, but I loved
okay,
the
Pearl.
first two. I loved
Um,
X and Pearl.
yeah, I
And
had Pearl as
yeah,
an honorable mention. It was definitely one I considered. I
yeah,
that those that trilogy, particularly those two first two were
yeah.
really, really impressive. And I don't normally like those kind of, horror
Right.
movies. But yeah, incredible filmmaking going on and the
Yeah.
performances. I totally get it. Yeah, good
Yeah.
choice. My number 28 is, speaking of my cheats, is a little bit of a cheat because I technically have RRR as my
Mm,
28, but I really could put anything by Roger Moulay. I loved both the Bahubali movies. Those were
mm.
very inspiring to me. And not that I had never seen a Bollywood film, but and I guess they're technically Tollywood, but I'd never seen movies quite like his movies before. And so they were sort of my
Yeah.
introduction to that genre, and I've seen others since. But seeing RRR in the theater, first of all, I saw it the same day that I saw Morbius,
That's quite a double feature.
which is just hilarious.
Oh my God.
I love this story in RRR of these two friends and their bromance together, and it interweaves the music element probably better than any of his other films. And
Interesting.
which I love, seeing that, and that's so fun, and the dancing and the you watch RRR and you just think like this movie has something for everybody. The action, the friendship, the
Yeah.
camaraderie, the villains, the everything that you could kind of want, the over the topness. It's just it's a long movie, but it's a fun watch. It's a
It's
fun,
fun.
yeah,
And it's nice if you need to break it up, it has like a way you cannot watch it all
right,
in one sitting if you
yeah,
if you really just can't do it.
yeah,
But then just my plea is just think of it as like 3 episodes of TV that you would
yeah,
absolutely sit down and watch. So
yeah.
that's all. It's just 3 episodes of TV. So
That's
yeah.
true. And I'm
But
so
it is such a good.
annoyed with India and how they keep picking the weirdest movies for their Oscar submission.
Yeah.
And it's just like I wish that the international award was just for the best movies.
Yeah.
And it's so dumb that only one movie submitted by the country is allowed.
Yeah.
That's in my opinion, that's not how it should be.
No, I
If
agree.
Germany makes 5 of the best movies that year, then they deserve it. Like it
Right.
should just be what is the best. It shouldn't be
Right.
we got to represent everybody. Like that's my opinion at least.
Yeah.
And
No, that would.
it's especially frustrating with India when we had the what was it, all the lights we can imagine,
All we imagine is light, I
yeah,
think. Yeah.
yeah, that didn't get
Yeah.
picked by India. What is wrong with that?
It is. It's so
uh,
odd. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, they would have definitely won the
I
RRR.
still haven't, yeah, I still haven't seen All We Imagine Is Light yet.
Oh, you haven't seen.
I missed that one.
Well, they
Yeah.
might not have won for that one, but they would have definitely won for RRR.
RRR, yeah. I mean, well, I mean, before I'm Just Ken, that was probably one of the best like
Yeah,
stage performances we saw for music. I mean, it won for that, didn't it?
yeah,
It did
it
win for
did.
like best
Yeah,
original song. I mean, it's so
yeah.
fun, but like,
Mhm.
yeah, nah,
So that's frustrating.
indeed.
But what do you have at 27?
So 27 is our first. I'm overlapping you in that I have Mad
Oh,
Max Fury Road here. And
oh.
watch episode 1, and basically everything Rachel said, that's what I think about it. Is like it's the best action movie ever made.
Yeah,
I feel like I can just say that. I don't know. Like
yeah.
I don't know if I can't think of one that's better. So
It is exhilarating from frame one to the
yeah.
end. It never stops. It never and and I said this in episode one, but people are like, "Oh, what about the plot?" I'm like,
I
it's a war
do not
movie,
care. Yeah.
and each scene is a different battle. And if you think
Yep.
about war movies, is there much plot beyond the battles? That's the plot, right?
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
And so it doesn't really bother me the lack of plot. If anything, in Furiosa, the over use of plot like actually weighted it down. And I was
I
like,
agree. No,
let's
I
go back.
100% agree. That
Yeah.
was what makes Fury Road work is that it's just the simplicity of it is the draw to me. And I say that as
Yeah.
somebody who like loves a good story. That's
Yeah.
always almost always going to be the like most important thing to me is like is the story good?
Yeah.
I will forgive so many like technical things if the story is good. Mad Max is just that's not what it's about, and
Yeah.
the technical things are so perfectly done
Yeah.
that I don't care
And
that the story is just we go here and we're basically yeah just escaping these
yeah.
women like
And
that's fine, I'll take
I've
it.
never seen any of the older ones. I've never seen
Right
any
on.
of the older Mad Max movies.
I mean, I don't think they were ever a real story kind of thing,
Yeah.
so I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, absolutely. My number 27 is Napoleon Dynamite. Is where I have Napoleon Dynamite. It is I just think it's really funny and it it also has like a sweetheart to it. It's really about friendship. And when you think about it, Napoleon has like a pretty bad life. Like it pretty much sucks, but like uh, it he's a positive person in his own dry, sarcastic way. And so he makes the best of the situation. And I don't know, there's so many quotable lines.
Yeah. It's so funny because I remember going to my like local video rental place and Napoleon Dynamite was like out
Everywhere, yeah.
forever.
Oh
Like
yeah.
you could not rent it. So this is the olden days. And I was like, what is up with this movie? And I watched it and I was like, this must just be this like, and it's so fun. I just went in with such a different expectation of what this movie was going to be.
Yeah.
I hated it the first time I
Oh
watched it. I was
yeah.
like, why has this movie been out for the past 2 months? Why have I not been able to watch it? Because this is like, there's nothing happened. And I was like waiting for a thing to happen. And then I like realized, oh, okay, it's not a thing that happens. It's just
Yeah. Speaking of
this. And so
stories.
watching it again, it's like, okay, I can see that now. But like, oh my gosh, my first impression of this movie was loathing. Because I was like, why? But yeah, like I eventually came around, but oh my goodness, it took me a minute.
Well, and I know I actually know quite a few people that don't get it, that don't like, and it is a particular style of humor. And
Oh,
but,
for sure.
yeah. Girls want guys with skills, nunchuck skills, deep skills. So it's not going to be for everybody when he's like, stay off my tots.
Right.
But yeah, it I think also it was like it I mean it was a phenomenon by you. It was even more a phenomenon by me because
Mm,
it's all homegrown, made here, made it,
right.
like, so I'm kind of making fun of Utah/Idaho culture. So it was especially like a phenomenon. And it actually came out when I was on my mission for my church, and we don't watch any movies on the mission. And so I saw it after it had been out because I didn't get home until mid 2005. So I'd heard about it. I was like, oh, I'm finally gonna see it. So
Oh,
yeah.
excellent.
Um,
Excellent.
what do you have at 26?
So 26 is Little Miss Sunshine.
Oh,
I adore this movie. I just something about just yeah, this like deeply dysfunctional family on a road trip for a beauty contest. I don't know. The
yeah.
performances in it are all just beautiful. I love the relationship between Olive and her grandpa, and Alan Arkin's so good in it, and Steve Carell's good in it. It was kind of like before Steve Carell like super took right. I mean, like
Yeah.
2006, like that's pretty early in his like
Yeah. Like I
career.
don't
Like
know
I
when
don't
The Office started, but that would have been, was that before?
right yeah, like
Yeah.
right at the beginning there. It was before he was like Steve Carell guy. Like he was
Yeah,
that
because
might have
that
been
was
like
just,
right when he was still like with the Daily Show or
yeah,
whatever.
it
So
was
not a
just
nobody, but
after, because the 40-year-old version was 2005. So
okay.
it was just
Oh,
that
so he
beginning.
was
Yeah.
starting. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know. I love it. It's funny and weird. And I am a
Yeah. That's a good
Toni
one.
Collette fangirl forever. I adore her in
Yeah.
basically everything she does. Even if it's an awful movie, I will love Toni Collette. So
Yeah.
I don't know, like, but Little Miss Sunshine is not a terrible movie. It's lovely. I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
When the whole family gets up and is dancing with Olive at the end, I mean, I'm here for it. We just got to support the other weirdos in our life. It's just
Yeah.
great.
That's
So, yeah.
that's a good one. Yeah. Steve Carell, he has taken more variety in his roles than maybe given credit for, because
Absolutely.
so I guess The Office started in 2005. So this was all sort of right around the same time, but he had
Right
this,
on.
which is not like the most likable character
No, no,
in
definitely
this for
not.
him. And then The Way Back, which I love that movie so much. He is a
I
villain
don't
in
think I've
that.
seen that one.
Oh, it's really good.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's a villain. And then he's a villain in that Kenny Tatum wrestler. He's a villain in
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
So he has
exactly.
done like some variety, and then he was in the big short.
Yeah, which
That,
is yeah,
it's a
he's
sympathetic
just
role.
yeah, I
Uh,
think he's just yeah, he hasn't like pigeonholed himself
yeah,
somehow. Like it's
yeah,
interesting to me that he hasn't because it's like yeah, you see him as comedy guy. I
yeah,
mean, him on the what yeah, like Evan Almighty or whatever. Like
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's just but I loved his take on it when he was in it. It's just
yeah,
I don't know, like I
yeah.
I
It's a
just think
good movie.
I think he's had an interesting career trajectory and like yeah, like so many other comedians do all these comedy movies and then they go and they do their like dramatic thing.
Yeah,
And like and that's fine because quite honestly a lot of especially the very exuberant comedians I prefer their dramatic roles. And I have one of those
yeah,
yeah, not next week. Not next week, but
yeah,
soon. But yeah, but like he's just been kind of I don't want to say all over the place negative, but all over the place affectionate in
yeah,
in his
yeah.
roles. So yeah. All right.
Agreed.
So you.
Okay.
We'd like to take a second to thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast, the delightful new novel by Melody Carlson, Welcome to the Honey B&B. Award-winning author Melody Carlson presents a charming contemporary novel of family, humor, and new beginnings. Jewel McCary returns to the family farm to help her aging parents to turn the old farmhouse into a charming bed and breakfast. But juggling her dad's dementia, an old flame, and troublesome neighbors is not what she had in mind when she uprooted her life. Pick up Welcome to the Honey B&B for 30% off and free shipping at bakerbookhouse.com. That's 30% off and free shipping at bakerbookhouse.com.
My number 26 is where I have red, white, and royal blue. And I
Okay.
love this movie so much. It's really become kind of a comfort watch. I watch it
That's
on
fair.
repeat. I just thought they had like such incredible chemistry together. I mean, I loved the book, so it was pretty easy to do the movie and make it good because it was a good book and it was a good
Right.
movie. And a lot of it really just comes down to casting, and I just thought they were so good and they did the enemies to lovers so well. And I mean, if I was gonna critique it, it would be Uma Thurman's accent is ridiculous, but she still gave a very warm performance, even with the accent. But I don't know. I just think it's one of the best romantic comedies like ever made.
Yeah,
I really
it's
do.
great.
Yeah.
No, it's a fun one. And it is. It's just it's nice and like I love that it being like an LGBT
Yeah.
uh comedy, it like a relationship, a gay relationship is like very secondary to just them being a
Yeah.
couple. You know what I mean? Like I'm just it's less about that and more just about oh, here's this relationship. And I think that's what really works for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that I'm not saying that it's easy to come out. Obviously, it can be very difficult, but I think that like a royal setting is like one of the more realistic settings of like a lot of adversity of coming out. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, for
Like
sure, for sure.
that it so that plot line, because sometimes I'm like, do we have to do this again? Like, can't we tell other stories about, the
Yeah.
gay experience, the queer experience?
Right, right, right.
And but in this case, I think that it worked for the characters and for the story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I
You know.
agree. Unlike Happiest Season, negative.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, agreed. And like I just that
But we're
scene
not here
where
to talk about that.
maybe we could do that if people are interested in our 25 worst. I mean, our worst of the last 25 years. That could be
Yeah.
interesting. But yeah, I love that scene when they're dancing, when they make up. Oh,
Yeah,
so
so good.
good. Yeah. So that's my 26. What do you have at 25?
So 25 is my most favorite quotable movie, which is Mean Girls, 2004.
Yeah, good one.
And yeah, this is a movie I definitely did not see it in 2004 when it came out. I saw it way later than that. Like, I think it's one that had been out for a while and everybody talked about it, and then I finally watched it and just Oh my gosh, it's just
Yeah.
so funny. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. It's just
Well,
it's just
it
really,
is.
really funny and deeply quotable, and
Yeah.
that's enough for
Yeah,
me.
I agree. I had that as an honorable mention. That was another one that came out when I was on my mission. So I saw that
Yeah,
later.
exactly. 2004, yeah.
Yeah, 2004 is my empty year of movies
Yep.
that I had to make up for. But yeah, absolutely. I think it's very, very funny. And the commentary on on this high school and on Mean Girls is just
Yeah.
really well done. And I love Tim Meadows in that movie. He's probably my
Yeah.
favorite.
Oh my gosh, he's so good. I don't
Yeah.
know.
It's really,
It's just funny. I don't
he's like,
know.
I didn't leave the Bronx for this, you know? He's like, whatever. Very funny. Good choice. Oh, okay. My number 25, we talked about last time.
Mm,
It's my cheat of basically all the Avengers movies is my
totally
25.
fair. Yeah, there.
If I had to pick one, I probably would pick Endgame just because of the experience of it all. Was
Yeah.
so fun. It's one of the best experiences in a theater I've ever had. Everyone cheering, everyone, and the fact that they were able to pull that off is just
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
And I mean, especially when you think about the struggles of blockbusters and even Marvel since then, the
Yeah.
fact that they were able to pull it off is incredible. And I mean, I love the original Avengers as well. I think it's such an entertaining film, and I love Loki so much as the villain, which is a lot of times what they get wrong in Marvel.
Yeah.
And the camaraderie, the chemistry between all of them, the satisfying. I mean, the second one does have some weird moments, probably the most issues,
Yeah.
but still, Ultron's pretty fun,
Mhm.
and then like I said before, the Infinity War has kind of grown on me in sort of the bold choices that it makes,
Mhm.
and of course the filmmaking is really exciting in Infinity War,
Yeah.
and uh, it just kept getting the characters just kept getting better and better when you add Black Panther and Spider-Man and it's just Doctor Strange, all of these great characters. And one thing that I admire so much about these phases of the MCU is that they managed to make not good movies better through
Yeah.
the franchise. And that's like a strong franchise to me. Whereas,
Mhm.
so like Endgame made Dark World better because of
Right.
that scene in Endgame with Thor and his mother and the emotion of that. And so that's something that the MCU used to be able to do that they have completely lost. It is that
Mhm.
they have no ability to do that anymore. And also the MCU used to be special because for me at least, it was fun, even in a not as good movie, to see the clues. Be like, oh,
Right.
look over there, look at that thing, look what's going on here, let's do in there, and then you'd see it in the next, you'd see something in the next movie. Oh, that was a clue. There was a mystery almost element to it, putting everything
Right.
together, a puzzle solving element, and so then these Avengers movies, everything would all kind of come together, and that was fun. That was satisfying to be like, look at all these things and all these, and it just made it a cool experience. So even if
Right.
something wasn't as good, it still was satisfying in a way that they've lost. So yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So
And there is something, I mean, I legit just cried when Cap finally gave us the
oh
Avengers
yeah.
Assemble. I mean, that's just like,
Oh,
holy cow, it was so good.
amazing. The
Like
whole audience
it makes me like
cheering.
tear up just
Yeah.
literally thinking about it now. Like it
Uh,
is just one of my favorite moments. It
yeah.
is stunning. So,
Everybody
yeah.
just cheering.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
was
it is.
amazing.
That's a
Yeah.
yeah, I love
So
those moments. Yeah.
yeah. So what do you
Well,
have at 24?
so speaking of superheroes, this is my, I think, second Spider-Man movie
Oh
on
yeah.
my list. This is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which is the
Oh
first animated one with Miles in it. And I love the voice work that Shamik Moore does. It's so good. I think Haley Stanfield's great. I love Jake Johnson. Like, I love all
yeah.
of the voice work. I think it's so good. And in a movie that somehow has like multiple villains in it, it still manages to like tell a really compelling story.
Yeah.
And like, I've loved both of the movies. I hope that we someday get the third. I would really love that.
Yeah.
Um, I love the art style. They came in
Oh,
and they did this like fascinating like look to a movie because you get
mhm.
really into like, and I love Disney and Pixar stuff, and it's very beautiful. And it's always just how can we amp up how beautiful and like realistic and everything it is. And this like took a step away from that and did something totally different in this really stylized kind of thing. And I love it. I think it's just
Yeah.
a beautiful movie. Yeah,
I think it's a masterpiece. I do have it higher up on my list.
fair.
I remember going to see Venom because they didn't screen it for critics, and so.
Mm.
But I remember going to see Venom just because you got to see the 20 minutes of a
Mm.
Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse.
Best reason to
I
see
mean, and
them.
that was a risky move on the part of Venom because that what's going to compare? Like really?
Right?
I mean, but it was such a stunning movie. Every frame could be literally framed.
Mm. Yeah.
It's so beautiful. The hybrid animation, the combination of CG and 2D is just
Yeah.
unbelievable. The movement, the way everything flows is just incredible. That first leap, the leap of faith
Oh,
sequence. Oh,
yeah. I mean, it is stunning.
but yeah, it's
Soundtrack,
not.
excellent. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
soundtrack
yeah.
excellent. How many movies can you really say over the last 25 years that were not just a great movie, but a true game changer for their entire medium?
Yeah,
Like Spider-Man
exactly.
Into the Spider-Verse changed everything for animation, and
Yeah.
that's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Well, my number 24, we talked about with There Will Be Blood about the Great American Movie. And I
Mhm.
would say that this number 24 is also one of the Great American movies the last 25 years. It's Lean on Pete. And
I have not
this
seen this.
oh, good.
Yay.
So this is by director Andrew Hay, and he is one of my favorite directors. And one of the things that he does so well in his movies is he tells stories with real heart and soul and compassion. And he was a couple like last 2023 he did All of Us Strangers.
Mm.
45 Years as another of his, which is a very beautiful film. The Weekend, that's another really, he's a great director. And in this one it tells the story of this kid who is working at a racetrack, and he bonds with this horse, and then he finds out that the horse is going to be put down,
Mm.
and he ends up leaving and taking the horse, running away, and starting on this like road trip across America, and all the different characters that he meets along the way. And it's Charlie Plummer is one of my favorite young talents. I think he is such a good actor, and he's great in this. There's devastating scenes, and it's just a really like what a movie to like capture America of 2017. And
Yeah.
and yeah, beautiful. I highly recommend it.
Absolutely. Oh, I'll have to check
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
Well, what do you have at 23?
So 23, and this is where maybe I cheated with or did wrong with our like years, but I did Oh Brother Where Art Thou from 2000 because I was not counting this year as movies. So I'm counting 2000 to 24. So
Yeah, I have some
maybe I'm wrong.
2000s. I have some
Okay, good.
2000s.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Oh Brother Where Art Thou then? I think the Coens are just really good together. Um,
Yeah.
and there is something I love this movie. I've watched this movie so many times. I think it's just such a unique like take on, the Odyssey, and I love the way they do that. The baptism scene is just one of my favorite scenes just in movies generally
Oh,
speaking.
yeah. And the
Um,
soundtrack. Oh my gosh.
I mean, yeah, it's like yeah, so yeah, it's just I think it's just like I love the way it's shot. I love the performances. I mean, this was like when Clooney was really like starting his like film kind of time, and I mean not starting but like really coming into it, I think. And I love it. I don't know. It's just a
Yeah.
really
It's a
really
good
good
choice.
story, and it's not like yeah, I mean the story has been told for, you know, generations, but I think their take on it's just really unique and interesting, and I love it.
Yeah, that's a very good choice. My number 23 is where I have a little movie called Wild Rose. And
Okay.
yeah, so this movie it stars Jessie Buckley and she's incredible in it.
Steve
And
Buckley.
she plays this woman who has gotten out of prison, and Julie Walters is so good as her mother. And she has two kids. Her mom's basically been raising her kids while she's been in prison. But her big dream is to be a country music singer. And of course, that's tough to do. And
Oh, yes,
being
I
from
missed
Scotland,
this one. Ah,
and
okay.
yeah, I highly recommend it.
Mhm.
The music, of course, is incredible. She's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
I really wish that the song Glasgow that had gotten nominated because it's just an incredible song. And what I admired so much about this movie is that it would have been very easy to make Julie Walters' character like a one note, judgmental, I don't like your dreams kind of a thing, parent. But
Mm.
there's a lot more to their relationship and to her character than that, because she's literally been raising these kids and she's seen what this dream has cost her daughter. And like, how much more are you willing to spend, uh and look at what you're missing out. You're missing out on your children. And so like her positions were like,
Mm.
she wasn't just kind of like a hater. I just thought she was so good. And then what actually ends up happening, I won't spoil it for you, but is actually kind of surprising. There's some nuance there. It's not like just some underdog typical story. And yeah, it's and I hear that they're actually making a Broadway musical of it, and that will be amazing. I can't wait. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I have at 23. What do you have at 22?
So 22 is I think another one that you mentioned earlier, and it is How to Train Your Dragon. Um,
Oh,
because
yeah.
yeah, it's beautiful. And again, this is another one where it's, I think we've said most of the things to say about it.
Yeah.
It's just some of the most gorgeous animation. I
Yeah.
absolutely love it. It's uh yeah, Toothless is just one of the best cat dogs ever to exist. I don't know. I
Yeah.
love that they somehow made him both. That's brilliant.
The
I
flying
love
scenes,
it.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's lovely. I love the relationships in it. I love the friendship between all of the like young Vikings is fun, and the
Yeah.
way that they like interact. It's just, yeah, it's beautiful
Are
in
you dreading this remake as much as
yes,
me?
I absolutely am. I am, I don't know.
Ugh.
We'll see.
Yeah, and then you have Dean DeBose saying that recently he was like, "Well, there were a bunch of things that I wanted to do in the first one, but we couldn't do, so now we're doing it here." And I'm just like,
Mm,
it's so annoying, so
yeah.
annoying. Oh,
So no, I'm not super excited about that, but um
yeah,
I
it's
do
so
love the original.
yeah,
So yeah.
agreed.
So
Is
you
it
at
your
22.
favorite of the three then?
Um,
The
I would say
original? It's
it's
mine.
certainly the one I've seen the most.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's probably my
because I think
favorite,
the
I
other
would
two
say.
are very
They're
good. I
good.
enjoy
And I
them.
think, yeah, the trilogy is quite good, but I think just the
Yeah.
like beginning of it, if it only had that movie, that'd be fine
Yeah.
too.
Well, I just actually realized my next two are actually 2000 movies from the
Oh,
year
okay. Well,
2000.
good.
So
Then we're fine. Yay.
definitely, yeah. So my number 22 is Return to Me. I
Yes.
absolutely love this
Yes. Yes.
romantic
Yes.
comedy.
Yes.
I love basically everything about it. I mean, it's pretty emotional for a romantic comedy, but
Yeah.
I think it gives that like heart and soul, and their chemistry is incredible. All the sidekicks are amazing and hilarious. And Bonnie Hunt, it does a great job directing, but also I love her in this as with all those kids with Jim Belushi and them swearing is so funny. And I love the old people debating about Italy versus Ireland, and that it's my dream in life someday is to go to an Irish Italian bistro.
There we go.
Yeah, to get ravioli with a side of sauerkraut. That's the
Exactly.
dream. But but I just there's so many iconic scenes in this movie, and it's I mean just when he says, well, maybe you were always meant to be with it. Maybe that heart you're always so good.
Yes.
And I just think if you're looking at like again, when I say a perfect movie, like I love a lot of movies that I would say are imperfect and have lots of flaws. But
Yeah.
like this movie, I just don't think I would change a single thing about it. I think for what it's trying to do, it's perfect.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, that's a great choice. Great choice. Yeah. So
What do you have at 21?
So 21
Yeah.
is romance, but not comedy at all. It is 2023's Past Lives from Celine
Oh
Song.
yeah. Yeah.
This movie just I love it. I
Yeah.
love this story where you can be wholly in love with this person and also still have regret about a former relationship. I think
Yeah.
is just so real and beautiful. Like
Yeah.
I I've seen people who are just like, oh, and I love the subtlety of it, of the relationship, that we have
Yeah.
there. It's just it's not this big showy kind of thing. Like none of them are, and I love that about it. I just, oh
Yeah.
gosh,
Well,
it's
I
one I
yeah,
love it.
the first time that I saw this movie, I can't overstate how tense I was. It was
Yeah.
like a thriller to me because I loved her husband so much, and I thought he
Oh
was such
yeah.
a great guy and so understanding, and so I was like, don't cheat on your husband, please
Yeah,
don't cheat on your husband.
right.
And I was just like, and then she doesn't, and so it was all fine. But I was really tense about it.
Yeah.
And so as far as like it was very effective,
Mm-hmm.
but as far as enjoying it, I enjoyed it more the second time I watched it because
Yeah, I could.
I didn't have that, like I knew the ending. I was almost one that I almost wanted to have spoiled for me
Mm,
because so many movies and television shows, like they tried to sort of rationalize adultery,
right, right,
that, oh well, he was a bad guy or he was whatever, and it's like I really don't like that. I don't like being manipulated in that way. So that was
right.
my fear watching the movie, that it was going to be this big sort of like manipulate, then I would have been very annoyed. But the fact that she doesn't, and
Right.
it's a really good movie, really good. But I was just sitting there in the theater, just like,
Yeah, I think one of my favorite scenes is between it's between Arthur and Haesung, and they are talking about the whole like idea of past lives. And when he talks about how the two of them also have this moment of connection, and I think that's
yeah,
just so beautiful.
that is a good
And like,
scene.
I don't know, like Greta Lee just sobbing, Nora sobbing on her way after.
Yeah,
There's just something
it's
beautiful
cathartic.
about that. I don't know. I just, even though it's not, yeah, again, I think it's that little bit of like you get this soulmate kind of thing in a lot of like romantic movies. It's like, and it it feels like a modern remake a little bit, not exactly, not like one for one, but it has a lot of those like Casablanca kind of vibes to
Yeah, I can
of
see that,
like
or like Brief
there's this,
Encounter,
yeah,
or even In the
exactly.
Mood for
It's like
Love.
there's this relationship that absolutely matters and that is important,
Yeah,
and it's not the one that I end up with. And there's something heartbreaking and beautiful and like, yeah, I think it speaks to just something
yeah,
larger
I
that a
agree.
lot of people
Yeah,
experience. It's like, yeah, I love this person and I love this person and
yeah,
I'm not with this person.
yeah.
You know, and I think that
And then
that
and but
tension is beautifully
she took her
demonstrated.
vows seriously. I mean, she did
Right.
love her husband, but she was like, I've made a vow. And that
Right,
was,
exactly.
we forget.
I think it holds that tension really, really
Yeah, I
expertly in a
agree.
way that yeah, I think a lot of things
Yeah.
don't necessarily hit that tension as well as this one did. So yeah,
Well,
it's
my number 21 is very different than that. It's Best in Show from
oh
2000.
my God.
I mean, I really do love all of the Christopher Guest,
Yeah.
that troupe, comedy series. I love Waiting for Guffman, and I love not as much for your consideration, but I still do find that quite funny.
Right.
But Best in Show is just a comedic masterpiece.
So good.
I just die laughing every time I watch it. Everybody's at the top of their game. I especially love Jennifer Coolidge in it. She's
I mean,
so funny.
God.
Her and Jane Lynch, oh my gosh, are the best. And yeah, I mean, and Fred Lillard, he's one of my favorites.
Always.
When
Oh my gosh, he's so
when
good. And
he's doing that
oh,
play-by-play with it.
amazing. Amazing. Oh my God.
And so it's so good. It,
Yeah, absolutely. I probably edge just a little harder to A Mighty Wind just because
I know
that
it's so
like
good.
folk thing just like slays me. But
Yeah.
yeah, Best in Show. I mean, like that's it's a classic. It's a good call.
It's one that I I like literally tears laughing. And
Yeah,
I've
it
seen
makes
it.
I'm like low key like, oh, maybe I'll put that on this evening. I
Yeah.
haven't watched it in a minute.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that sounds pretty fun,
And I
actually.
remember Roger Ebert at the time saying like, that Fred Willard should get a nominated for an Oscar for Best Supporting, and I would have supported that 100%.
Yeah.
He is so funny in that movie, and so it'll be interesting to see, even though it's not all the same people when they're doing a Spinal Tap uh,
Yeah.
sequel,
Yeah.
and it'll be interesting to see if they could recapture the magic
I don't know.
there. We'll
Maybe it's
see.
always
We'll see.
those are tough calls. I don't know.
Yeah,
It'll
yeah.
it could work, but we'll see.
So I have in my list, I have Best in Show at 21, Return to Me at 22, Wild Rose at 23, Lean on Pete at 24, The Avengers at 25, Red, White, and Royal Blue at 26, Napoleon Dynamite at 27, RRR at 28, There Will Be Blood at 29, and Inception at 30.
All right. And I've got Past Lives, How to Train Your Dragon, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Mean Girls, Little Miss Sunshine, Mad Max Fury Road, X, Ghostlight, and Julie and Julia.
Oh,
So,
very
yay.
good. Well,
Oh, we're getting there. Top 20, baby.
I know. Well, let us know what you think of our list. What do you think of these movies? How you would rank them? What you would pick for some of your picks? And we've really enjoyed the comments we've gotten so far. Definitely put it in the comment section. And Alise, where can people find you?
Find me around at Alise Chaffins. That's where I'm at for the most part.
Yeah,
Substack and Blue Sky are,
great.
best
Have
places.
that all in the description, so you definitely should check that out. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. Check that out. Also, check out the Patreon. That's the biggest way you can support everything that we're doing. And I try to give some pretty good benefits. This last month, we had writer and director Emily Ting on sharing her experiences. So that was really fun. So please take a look at that. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. We really appreciate that. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate that so much. And check out the merch store. We got hashtag Animation Junkie shirts in there and other fun designs. Take a look at that. And thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye.